The Theodish Belief, or Theodism, is a form of Germanic Neopaganism that focuses on reconstructing the religion of the Anglo-Saxons of pre-Christian England. This form of heathenry was founded by Garman Lord, a former Wiccan in the late 20th century. According to the founder, in 1976, the Anglo-Saxon gods Woden and Freya tasked him with recreating the religion of his ancestors. An American himself, the religion Garman Lord founded remains predominantly American, although in recent decades it has begun to spread to other countries as well. Being a faith built on the practices of the old Anglo-Saxons, their religion is within the same culture group as Norse and other Germanic polytheistic religious movements. The first major difference comes from where their reconstruction begins, as the Anglo-Saxons evolved to their religious practices after their people conquered what would become England, and thus deviated from the traditional mainland Germans. While the beliefs found within Anglo-Saxon mythology are accepted within the Theodish belief, it is an orthopraxic religion. This means that correct ritual practice takes precedence over correct religious belief. At the beginning of Theod rituals, the site is first hallowed. A popular way of sanctifying a site is through the hammer rite, which is based on the Wiccan act known as the calling of the quarters, where each direction is called upon to be consecrated. Others may sing songs in Norse to ward off an area. Sacrifices of mead, seasonally appropriate items, holy water drawn from a spring, or on special occasions sacrificed animal blood are made to the gods. Particularly during a blot, considered the highest of the Theodish rites, are animals, generally boars, sacrificed to the gods and then cooked and eaten by the group. Where ordinary sacrifices to the gods within this religion may be done individually, a blot is done as a community. Sacred feasts such as these sacrifices are referred to as husel, where all food and drink are made to be sacred. Eating utensils, plates, and bowls are supposed to be picked for their beauty, and plates are to be set aside for the gods and for their departed ancestors. Less frequently, nature spirits of the land are also invited. These gods of Theodism resemble the gods of other traditional Germanic pantheons such as the Norse. As it is difficult to identify every single god or goddess that the Anglo-Saxons may have worshipped, Theods tend to adopt most Norse gods as they would prefer to worship more gods than their ancestors rather than risk worshipping too few. That being said, as Theodism is an Anglo-Saxon-centric faith, there are some gods within the pantheon who are unique to England. The Theodish claim that unlike the pantheons of the Romans, their gods are not easily categorized as patrons of specific things. For example, within Theodism, there are multiple gods of rain, so no single god can lay claim to this title alone. Ancestor veneration is an important aspect of Theodish belief, including remembering their ancestors' deeds and investigating their own lineages through genealogy. They believe that their ancestors are invested in their success and honor, since they believe that their status as their descendants elevates their ancestors' status. They believe that their ancestors pass luck and personal traits onto their descendants. The Theodish also tend to believe that if one names a child after an ancestor, they will inherit some of the traits of that ancestor. They also believe that the soul of the one they are named for will take a special interest in them. A guardian spirit known as a Hamingja was also said to be passed on to similarly named descendants. As well as the Anglo-Saxon gods and their ancestors, the Theodish believe in and revere Landvættir, which were nature spirits in Germanic mythology. Alongside ancestor spirits, Landvættir belong to a classification of entity known as a wight. Land spirits are also sometimes referred to as elves, and other names include the hidden folk, the land wights, Nissen, and Tomten. This belief in nature spirits fits in well with how the Theodish traditionally worship. Outside of Theodish community locations, worship is oftentimes done in groves, under waterfalls, or by riverbanks. The Theodish claim that the distinction between figures like their ancestors, cultural heroes, gods, and elves are blurred. They credit the unique traditions of the Anglo-Saxons as opposed to other German groups such as the Norse, who are believed to have had more clear distinctions between these classifications. Theodism is a religion that is very group-oriented. For example, they believe that the gods are more likely to respond to prayers and praises from a group rather than from an individual. Generally, the Theodish reject the importance of the individual as an inherent truth, but rather something that is rare and must be earned. Unlike many other modern pagan religions, Theodism is very hierarchical. Theodish groups are sometimes called tribes and are broken down into tribal ranks, also referred to as social classes or honorings. People who are welcome at tribal gatherings without being members are known as guests and good folk. Some Theodish organizations have a rank which they call the thrall. They are expected to learn the tribe's practices, do the majority of the labor required for tribal events, and are considered without honor and whose actions do not reflect on the rest of the tribe. The first ranks of so-called freedmen are referred to as carls, and carls who have proven themselves are bondi. The ealdorman of a Theodish tribe is the absolute leader of the group and is seen as the focus of interaction between the tribe and spiritual entities such as the gods. Oftentimes, the leader rules alongside his wife, who serves as the lady of the tribe. Theodish organizations sometimes have a folkmoot, which is a sort of council of so-called free folk who are supposed to be capable of making decisions, even ending in the replacement of the ealdorman if necessary. Theodish tribes tend to incorporate hold oaths into initiation into the religion. During these oaths, the learned Theodish, or lord, swears before the gods that he will teach and guide the new carl. Meanwhile, the new carl swears before the gods that he will do as the Lord says and accept his religious opinions as his own. Those who threaten their king or his luck may be declared outlaws within their tribe. Another reason why someone may be outlawed from a tribe or from the religion as a whole is if someone is believed to be threatening the frith, or peace, by acting dishonorably, such as rumor-mongering or attempting to threaten the unity, viability, and survival of the religion. The Theodish idolize the values that resemble how they view their Anglo-Saxon ancestors, such as reprisal against dishonorable remarks and self-reliance. They tend to show displeasure with the modern world with its comforts and, in their view, its ease. The Theodish prefer to take up skills that the pagan Anglo-Saxons needed, such as animal husbandry and butchery. Ultimately, within Theodish belief, what is good for the tribe, and what is not good for the tribe is bad. When dealing with matters outside of the tribe, individuals are expected to take the side of a tribesman over that of an outsider, regardless of their personal feelings in the tribesman. The Theodish believe that it is important to observe the agricultural year. Theodish holidays, or holy tides, follow the lunar cycles, solstices, and equinoxes. Yule takes place after the first lunar cycles following winter solstice. Here, livestock are slaughtered and a feast is held. May Day Eve is when thanks is given to Frey and gardens are planted. The Midsummer Festival is when non-urgent disputes within the tribe are settled. Winter nights is a time that is believed to be when the veil between the living and the dead is at its thinnest. Some Theods also celebrate new holidays, such as Penda Day, which commemorates the battle death of the last Anglo-Saxon pagan king. The concept of a soul within Theodish belief is that of an entity that is broken into 11 distinct parts. The first component of the soul is the physical one. The lich is the name for the human body, which is considered to be a part of the soul. The high is the name for one's intellect, and the mind refers to one's memory. Both concepts are believed to be linked to different kinds of love within this system. The willa is one's own will and determination. The aethum is seen as the breath of life, and as the tether that links the rest of the soul to the body. The hama is seen as the outer layer of the soul, which keeps the rest of the soul contained. The orle is the whole of the person's past events and their consequences. The magen is the spiritual energy that exists in all things, living or otherwise, which also works as a form of karma. If someone commits an evil act and does not rectify that spiritual debt, they will lose magen. For example, a thief will lose magen equal to however much magen was contained in the thing that they stole. On the other hand, magen can be earned through good deeds. The fetch is a person's guardian spirit, which is believed to take the form of an animal or a member of the opposite sex. They are responsible for the recording of one's actions and their weird, as well as the allocation of magen. The mode refers to the entirety of one's self as the totality of all parts of the soul. Lastly is the wod, which contains one's passions and emotions that inspire. It is related to poetic inspiration, madness, and berserker rage. The Theodish believe that the correct integration of the wod can lead to artistic genius, while the failure to integrate the wod can lead to mental illness. When it comes to death, the Theodish nowadays generally ask for religious accommodations for funerals. They have reintroduced the practice of grave goods, which for the most part have been abandoned in the modern Western world. The primary example for this is the requirement for the funeral director to ensure that the deceased's toenails be trimmed so that they can wear hell shoes, which were believed to allow the dead to pass on in comfort. It is not known whether the Anglo-Saxons believed in all 9 of the worlds that the Norse did, but as Theodish would rather risk believing in too many gods than too few, Theodism generally accepts all 9 worlds of Norse mythology. Midgard, or Middle-earth, is the world that we exist in. Essigird is the abode of the Aesir gods. Wenaham is the home to the Vanir gods. Alfheim is the realm of the elves. Svartalfheim is the realm of the Black Elves, which is believed to either mean dark elf or perhaps dwarf. Ettenham is the world of the giants. Muspel is the fiery domain of evil. In contrast, Niflheim is the domain of ice and mist. Lastly, the concept of hell as the abode of the dead exists within the religion. It is often depicted in Norse mythology as a dreary world. That being said, it is not seen as a place of eternal damnation. However, the Theodish believe that evil deeds are punished harshly in the afterlife. Norse hell contains many different locations, and it is said to be the place where both good and evil go when they die. Within hell, there is Niflhel, where those who have committed evil go, and the most evil souls are sent to Naustrund. Besides hell, some old legends refer to gods besides hell taking in the dead themselves. Other afterlives may include Valhalla, the place of dead warriors, and Gimle for survivors of Ragnarok. Some Theodish believe in reincarnation, and believe that the heroics and fame gained in one life better the weird they will enjoy in their next incarnation. Weird is a somewhat complicated concept. Like one's Magan, it works as a sort of karmic system. It is associated with one's fate, but it is not set in stone, unlike the Orlais, which pertains to one's past and the consequences of the previous actions. Orlais can begin as early as birth and is unchangeable. Weird, on the other hand, is a type of fate that allows for free will. It is the imprint that one leaves on someone they form a relationship with, and the imprints others leave on them. It is both fate determined by the gods or other powerful entities, as well as fate determined by one's self through action. Some believe that parts of one's weird can be changed through runic magic. A ritual is sometimes performed which aims to put one into the flow of the weird, connecting their past, their present, and driving their future. By boasting of previous deeds at these ceremonies, the past is connected to the present. Boasting of one's ancestors is also not unheard of during this rite known as Simbil. Swearing to do something, that is, directing the weird towards a future event, is a sort of boasting as well. Rather than boasting of something they or an ancestor had done, they are boasting to do something in this case. Before boasting, however, prayers to the gods are made, as well as a toast to their ancestors. The Theodish belief stands out in its unique emphasis on not only reconstructing the practices and beliefs of their ancestors, but rather the way the Theodish aim to restructure their personal lives and relationships to better fit the mold of the ancient Anglo-Saxon tribes. This has led to the creation of a pagan movement where solitary practice is difficult and discouraged, and where community, leadership, and structure are paramount. Thanks for watching.